Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to January's Shop Talk. I'm so excited to get into it with you, to get into it with me. I have lots of things that I'm excited to talk about today. I'll give a little bit of a preamble while we wait for folks to come on. Oh, I guess I'll start with hello. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your second, third, fourth, and millionth time here, welcome back. My name is Lindsay Johnson, aka The Radical Connector. I'm a visibility and sales strategist for misfit entrepreneurs, for the entrepreneurs out there building their business to the beat of their own drum and radical enough to believe that you can change the world. I'm here to show you how to get visible and start getting sales, specifically using my ick-free sales system so that, you're not doing the whole manipulative, coercive, sell at any cost thing that people seem way too eager to teach and do and implement, and that we've all been subject to. How to sell more with less ick, how to use consent-based selling strategies to get in front of people who actually want what you've got and buy from you. So today we're going to go into some fun topics. I have the chat up here. We're doing something new today. I've got the chat on the side, so hopefully you all can see that. Yeah, Melanie, hi! And so that you can see each other as you're chatting. What's up, Megan? We have a call coming up soon, right? How did your, was it a summit or a bundle? How did it go? Marie, Happy New Year. How did the bundle go? How did the summit go, Megan? I didn't know about it until Emery told me about it. I didn't even know it was happening. So I signed up, but I signed up too late. I think I missed everything. But I hear it was fantastic. I can't wait to hear how it goes. How do you guys like having the chat on the side? It's kind of cool, eh? It's kind of cool. Hopefully I can see it. Can you all see it? Yes, this is so timely. My intention for the year is this a tolerance? Hang on, I gotta move my logo. Give me a sec. My logo is blocking your thing. There we go. Is balance, not tolerance. Balance. That makes more sense. Yeah, I want to hear that. Tell me, everybody. Tell me your word of the year. I'd love to hear your word of the year. And yeah, we're going to talk a lot about balance today. Balance and boundaries. My word of the year, I'll tell you real quick, is unencumbered. And if you have listened to the podcast that I put out last week, you can hear more about that. Let me share the link right now. Go and listen to it if you haven't already. Whoops, I can spell. But I talk a lot about unencumbered and what that means to me in terms of I really want to feel unrestricted in my business this year. I don't want to, and in my life, I don't want to feel trapped. I don't want to feel blocked in. I don't want to feel weighed down. I really am looking at my life and my business this year and thinking, what are the things that are important? What are the things that feel good? What are the things I want versus what I don't want? And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments. I feel like, in business and in life, it's like with every passing year, we kind of amass more and more things that we do, things that we collect, places we show up to, right? Just things we commit to. It just kind of stacks and stacks and stacks. And if you're like me and you have a hard time saying no, because I want my hands in all the cookie jars. I want to do all the things. And so I say yes all the time, but then I can quickly feel cumbered. Is that a word? I can feel bogged down. I can feel trapped. I can feel blocked in, right? Painted into a corner to all the things I said yes to. So in my life and in my business this year, I really am like, I'm saying no a lot more. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't want to feel that many things, right? Let me catch up to your comments here. We have from Megan, the summit was a mixed bag, not as much income as I was anticipating, and I made the bananas decision to air my most sensitive trauma during a call for no reason, LOL. But the speakers were incredible. Yeah, that can happen, eh? That can happen, especially if we're ever doing something that's sort of one-sided, like something like this, where it's just me talking to the chat, and it's easy to kind of go inward and just start kind of talking and forget that this is public. Or if we're in a smaller contained group that will be shared publicly, right? If we're recording something that's going to go out, it can be easy to go into that. And if it doesn't feel good, then it's sometimes one of those things you have to just do and experience and be like, ooh, I don't want to do that again. But yeah, I've done that before. I've had that before too, where I've been on podcasts and been really into it and getting really deep with the podcast host. And then upon listening to the replay, realizing I actually don't want that much stuff out there. on the things I just said. I was caught up in the moment. So I have had before where I've had to ask podcast hosts to please not air our episode, which is brutal for them, for me, for all of us. But I was like, I don't want that out there. And I kind of got caught up in the moment. And thankfully the podcast host was like, I totally get that. We can re-record another day, be more within what feels safe, right? Feels good. Yes. Sue, hey, welcome. Happy New Year. Your word of the year is profit. Heck yeah. Let's go. Megan, I think I set a word of the year when we did the vision board party, but I don't remember it now. You're going to have to go look it back up. Let's go with love. I want to embody, sure, I should be sharing these, I guess. I want to embody love first and foremost. Yes. Maybe courage, do the messy stuff. Heck yeah. Marita, you to me are full of courage. I think just keep leaning on it. To be clear, people were so kind about it, but I was highly disassociated afterward for being exactly right. Because I think when we share that kind of stuff, or we hear other people share it, there's so much of it that can be relatable, right? And that relatability is so good in connection and not feeling alone, not feeling isolated. And then there's, I think Brene Brown talks about like the vulnerability hangover, but then there is that like, like that, like, will people think this? Will they judge that? How do I feel about saying that? Also too, and this is, I think I can't remember how the phrase goes, but you'll hear this sort of shared, what is it? It's like, I can't remember the phrase exactly. If somebody knows it, please tell me, but it's like, you share the outcome, not the journey. So like if you're in the depths of processing, that maybe isn't the time you want. And I'm not saying that you did this, Megan. I'm just saying in general, this isn't the time to maybe be sharing when you're still processing and still going through that journey. Because, your opinion changes, your beliefs change, your thoughts change. It's just, that's a process that is private and yours, right? But coming out the other side, going, okay, here's what I've learned. Here's what I'm shifting. Here's my lessons, right? That might be a better strategy, or a strategy that feels better. Hang on. What is this? Still deciding on a word of the year. I shared the word recovery with you the other day. Yes, but that's more so for the first part of the year. The intention behind that word is ease and wellness. I love that. You can have a word of the quarter. What do we got here? That's what I just did. Hang on. Okay, we've got, I'm in an odd situation. I'm doing some consulting for an old company. I just retired. Today's my last day. But then also small business owner, and the new phase is still growing. Yeah, is so still. And the new phase, so I think this was is still growing, right? Tell me what is odd about that situation, Melanie. What is odd about that situation for you? Megan, I grew up thinking I had to hide to be enough. And now that I'm a creator, I feel like I have to be totally exposed in order to be enough. Woof. Exactly. And there can be this pressure. There's a really great YouTube I watched, and it basically was like, we don't need to know everything about you. Like, why are people sharing everything about us? It's like the vulnerability overshare Olympics, right? You don't need to share it. I used to tell people all the time, right? Like, you don't owe the world your vulnerability. You don't owe them your mess. You don't owe them your trauma, right? And in fact, even for myself, like as I'm starting to, because I want to start getting into some more keynotes. I do a lot of speaking in terms of training and workshops and facilitation, but I want to get into more keynotes, which is where you shift from workshop style or teaching style into sharing your stories, your lessons, your experiences, right? It's like the fable style of teaching where you're like, here's my journey to, take your lesson from that you will. And in my process of doing keynotes, I noticed that a lot of keynotes share a lot of traumatic stories and experiences. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to go up and share my trauma. I don't want to re-trigger myself every time I do a keynote. I don't want to trigger people in the audience, because I've been listening to other keynote speakers and I get triggered. It's like, yeah, that's a style of keynotes, but I don't want to do it that way, right? So, in your own speaking, in your own storytelling, story sharing, remember that you, again, don't have to share that messy, vulnerable part if you're still in it. But you also don't have to talk about your trauma if you don't want to. Like, you can talk about, I had things happen and here's how I felt about myself and here's what I've learned, right? Here's how that affected me. Here's how I learned. But you don't have to put everything that happened on display if you don't want to, right? What do I got here? New business, just pulled in different directions and competing priorities. I know I need to protect my time and set boundaries. Yeah, Melanie. Yeah. I saw that you also just got the free sales system. So that will help you a lot. I can't wait. It's almost done. I'm so excited for you all to get it. That's going to help you a lot prioritize what I'm doing and what I can let go of. You know, my word for the year, unencumbered. I would love for all of you to take a piece of that this year and really think, where am I cumbering myself? Where am I overburdening myself, right? Where am I taking on things that are not mine to take on? And they are distracting from the things that I need to do so that I have more time to do what I want to do, right? So that's going to help. It's going to help a lot. All right. Vulnerability hangover, a new word for me. Sounds like something to look into. Yeah, I believe it's Brene Brown that said that. I believe it's Brene Brown. Yeah. Make sure I didn't miss any comments here. I think I'm good. Anyone else want to share any words of the year this year? Any words, any themes? What are you excited about for this year? What I am so freaking excited about is sharing content, creating content. I have been wanting to be focused on YouTube for years, and I started in like 2020, but then we know, and I got really busy, and so I kind of had to abandon my YouTube channel. And of course, now I look at all the people who started 4 or 5 years ago and how much they've grown in their YouTube, and I'm like, but there's no point in beating myself up. I chose a different path, right? But now I'm coming back to getting back into choosing YouTube. And I'm really excited. I've been watching a ton of YouTube video essayists over the past couple of years, and getting a feel and a vibe and a flow for how they do that. And I want to start making some video essays. I might make maybe 2 or 3 this year. So on top of the lives like this and my shorter how-to videos, I want to make a couple of video essays just around things like entrepreneurship, personal growth, playing big, right? So I'm really excited for that. And just also really excited to get back into the podcast. The podcast was sort of abandoned because, again, I just got really busy. I just could not get to it. Mostly because I wasn't prepared to spend my life working 24/7, which we're going to talk about today. So I had to prioritize, right? And then just more blogs. If you all saw the blog, let me share it with you. I shared a blog was it the beginning? I think the beginning, maybe the end of the year, the beginning of the year, I don't know. Where I got you all to share your business advice with me. And then I put it into a blog, and I'm going to do more blogging like that, where I'm featuring other experts and their expertise, featuring more stuff from the community. So I'm excited for that. What do we got here? No comparisonitis. Victoria, what's up? Yeah, no comparisonitis. Please drop the comparison. It's useless. The only thing I want you to compare this year in your life and in your business is what feels good and what feels bad. That's it. I want you to compare how you feel to feeling good and to feeling bad. That's the only comparison. All right? But I want you making this year. Deal? Cozy and practical. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten your first name. Just a word of the year is abundance. I mean, heck yeah. Let's go for it. Megan, I'm excited about my book. I've been stopping myself from feeling excited for some reason, kind of like when you get 100% on a test and hide it. But I'm stepping into my excitement. Megan, I'm not going to lie, I can't relate. If I get 100% on a test, everyone's knowing about it. The other day I was at powerlifting, because you all know I'm obsessed. And on my deadlift, I went up from the little green weights, which are 25 pounds, to the 45-pound blue weights. So there's 45 on each side of the bar. And I was like a peacock walking around the gym, high-fiving people. I was like, I'm moving up to the blue weights today, friends. I don't know what it's like. I don't think I'm a very humble person. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a very humble person. I'm very proud of my accomplishments. You know how people are like, I can't watch my videos back. I can't listen to my voice back on recordings. Oh, I can. I can. I feel like that's a level of self-acceptance, radical self-acceptance that I am here for. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna be a published author. That's so awesome. Tell me what's the synopsis of the book? What are you gonna be talking about in the book? I can't wait to read it. What do we got here? New to your online world. Oh, I'm Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine. And welcome to our radical world. Welcome to our radical world. Did you all get a chance? I'm going to get into today's topic, I promise, in just a second. Did you all notice at all, and maybe you haven't, but in my effort to feel unencumbered and be unencumbered this year, I updated my website. I'm going to share with you now. If anyone's had a chance to look at it, I did a big update just on the content, on the direction, on the messaging, on the visuals. It was feeling cumbered. I need to look up if that's a real world word. Victoria, you here? Is cumbered a word? Our in-house copywriter here, resident copywriter. But it was feeling like messy and like too many things and all over the place. And so if anyone's had a chance to look, have a peek. But the other thing I really connected into over this holiday season, and I want to know from all of you, what is one thing that you really connected into for yourself and your business over the holiday break? But one of the things I really connected into was how much of a misfit I am and have always been, and how much of the people in my world are also misfits. There's a misfit, right, in the status quo. Whether that's sexual orientation, gender, neurodiversity, disability, whatever, right? Being anti-capitalist as an entrepreneur, I've never fit in ever. And the more I tried to fit in, the more miserable I was, and the smaller my world got, right? And with every level or layer of misfititis that I tapped into in myself, it just peeled away those layers, and I felt bigger and bigger and bigger, more confident, more self-assured, louder, right? I'm so curious for you. First of all, so anyway, my point is that misfit is all over my website now, because give me the misfit entrepreneurs. I love y'all, and I love me, and I love us. But I'm curious, number one, do you connect with being a misfit in some way in your life and your business? And number two, I would love to know what realizations you had over the break this year. This is why I recommend people take a long extended break in the summer and in the winter. Take a break, take some time, because having space allows us to tune in, and quiet allows us to tune into the things that aren't in alignment, so we can shift and change them, right? I want to hear it. What do we got here? My book's working title is I'm ADHD, Now What? There's a YouTube creator that does that, has a similar titled channel. It's both the daily reality of being both autistic and ADHD, and how being both is so different from being solely one or the other. Yeah, I cannot wait to read that. I think that'll go over well with a lot of people. I have another friend that realized they're ADHD or got the diagnosis of ADHD. And now, again, I think it's a really typical thing now that once you get on the meds for being ADHD, that's when the autism kind of reveals itself, right? As I have a mouthful of food. You don't have to type, you don't have to write or talk. I don't think cumbered is a word, but we can make it up. We're going to make it up. Yeah, cumbered, cumberbatch, cumberbund. Linz, I've looked at the homepage and it already looks so good. Thanks, Victoria. Yes, you and I have talked about that, right? I'm like, how do I present what I do? And what's really funny, friends, is I worked with another friend who does marketing and branding. I thought it was last year, but she informed me it was in 2023. And we came up with a lot of this messaging. But being an autistic fatty, it takes me a long time to process things. So like I said, I thought it was last year. It was 2023. But I have been trying out this kind of messaging, this direction, and then pulled back because it wasn't quite right. And then I leaned in, and then I pulled back, and I needed to really understand what these words meant, these phrases meant. Like, I get what misfit means, but what does it mean for me? What does it mean for you? I get what we're, not falling into the status quo. I get what that means, but how does that actually manifest and show up in our businesses, right? So it took me some time to finally really embody what that meant, and then feel comfortable putting it on my website and using that to represent me. But I need to embody things. I can't just I think as you get more unencumbered, as you lift off sort of the jackets or the veils or the burdens of fitting in, as you take that off, you begin to not be able to fake it anymore. And so if I'm not, it's not embodied, I can't do it. I can't do it. Anyone else? Definitely. Hell yeah, you're a misfit. Victoria, I haven't used the word misfit, but I've always felt like a rebel or a box breaker. So it definitely sounds like a fit. Yeah, like cover my own path. Exactly. That's why I threw that in. That was something I don't think I had worked with my other friend before, but the building, maybe we did. I don't know. Building the business to your beat of your own drum. I'm just reading it right now. Building your business to the beat of your own drum. I think that's what it comes down to. And even for myself, right? When I started my business, I was like, I'm doing it my way. I'm not doing it in a way that feels gross, that feels boring, that feels misaligned. Like I'm not doing it just because it'll make me more successful faster or it'll get me XYZ. I don't care. I don't care. My philosophy on life and business is like amassing wealth and money is not why. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to show this. There we go. No, why? I'm trying to hide. There we go. So my whole philosophy is that amassing wealth and making money is not the point of life. Like if you do this, you'll make more. If you did, I don't care. That's not my point. That's not why I'm here. Like to me, making money is really boring. Now, I like to make money. Making money is great. Having money allows me to do a lot of really cool things and impactful things in the world. But the pursuit of money to me is so boring. And so when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to think, okay, I still want to be successful and make great money because money gives me freedom. It gives me options. It gives me impact, right? But that's not why I do what I do. Right? Otherwise I would, I don't know, go open up a laundromat, like, a whole chain of laundromats. Like why I do what I do is so much bigger, right? Really the purpose behind what I do is really helping entrepreneurs or people use entrepreneurship as a tool to free themselves from systems of oppression and free others from systems of oppression, which sounds really heavy and big. I talk about this in the podcast, but that's what I do it for. And so I build my business to the beat of my own drum because I want to do it my way, because I want to feel good and excited and at home and aligned in my business while making an impact, right? And then the money comes because I'm doing things strategically and da-da-da-da. The money comes, but that's not what drives me, right? I'd love to hear from you. What drives you? Like money will come if you do the right activities, if you're selling the right thing to the right people, right? You're charging the right price, money will come. But what drives you in your business? Let me get into some of these comments here. I tried to take a break last night, ended up wide awake at 2 a.m. and got work done 2 to 6 a.m. So much for boundaries. You know what though? I mean, is your boundary to never work from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or is your boundary to not work all the time? To have limits to your work so you make space for having a life, right? My sleep schedule can be wonky. Sometimes I'm like fast asleep at 6 p.m. Like my brain is done. Other times I'm awake till 2. I allow myself to be now, to be fair, I do this full time. I don't have a job. I don't have kids. So it's a bit easier for me, right? I get that. But I don't get super locked in or tied into arbitrary dates or times. I really try as much as I can to tune into my body and what it needs, my brain and what it needs, and work when the momentum is there and rest when I need the rest. Does that make sense? Just maybe a slight shift in perspective. Oh, hang on, what do we got here? Oh, we did that one already. Hang on. So we got Victoria. As a copywriter, thank you for using an adjective that describes your target clients other than bold, visionary, or boundary breaking. These are good ones, but in my opinion, they're overused. Yeah. Well, this is a part of me. Like, if tell me if you all agree. If everyone else is doing it, I'm not going to do it. And I've been like that forever. And I think that's also why it takes me years to get to things. Like when everybody was oohing and ahhing over Game of Thrones, I didn't start watching till I think season 6 was out. Do you know what I'm watching now? I'm watching Lost. That came out 20 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I think it's time. And also it's really good. Like, so if everyone's using a word or a phrase, I don't want to use it because everyone's already using it. And if you're in my world, I'm going to push you because I'm going to say everyone's already saying that. Say something different, right? Oh my gosh. articulating the specific meaning behind them. I love the intention behind your use of the word misfit. Exactly. Marie, connection, authentic conversations. Heck yes. Get it. Melanie, making a difference, helping people make some amazing changes and see in their own pride in accomplishing this. This seems so hard. I love that, and I loved the I watched the full video you did and shared where you were organizing with that person like live. Like I was like, oh, we might. Okay, you can't really see, but like there's so much stuff that's just hidden away. My doom boxes that I've been carrying and moving across the country for years. You're just like, get rid of it. I was inspired by the video. Sue, my goal was only to provide free resources to solopreneurs so that they can succeed with ease. Then my later business unfolded as I kept getting feedback. So what is if your goal was to provide resources, what is your current goal? Megan, what drives my biz? I want to feel seen. Thank you, by the way. Hey, neurodiverse badass. Thank you for telling me what you're referencing. I want to feel seen and make others feel seen. I want to create resources that help people tap into their power and agency. Sexy. Victoria, I like that too. I watch popular shows like a decade later, right? Because we're misfits. We don't go with the status quo. It was a lot of fun. I loved it, and it's been driving a lot of new people your way. Absolutely, but I mean, you tapped into, show. What is it? Show don't tell, right? Like you're helping people see and experience what you do and the magic you bring. This is why we talk so much about like being visible, right? Getting the magic of what you do out there in the world and using all these different visibility strategies so that people can see you, not just read what you do, right? But actually see you in action. I love it. Continue to do more of those. It's great. It is so great for, as we would say, lead generation, for attracting the right people into your world, right? Yeah, it was scary AF and you did it. And you did it. I love it. Okay, friends, let's talk about our topics for today. I decided as I was, one more thing. Hang on, Brenda. What's up, Brenda? I'm new to building my VA biz, and wow, it seems all VAs are saying the same thing. Yeah, using the same pick, etc. I've just noticed I'm falling that trap too. Yeah, and I wanted to say this. That's normal because you have to have something. You have to say something. You have to put something out there, right? It's fine to like sort of borrow or be inspired from others. And the more that you're tapping into visibility strategies, the more you're getting on podcasts and speaking on panels and writing a blog and doing an Instagram live interview, like the more that you're getting out of your bubble into other people's audiences and getting to talk about what you do, the more you're going to tap into your unique messaging, right? Like I think about the word misfit. Yes, that came from another person who was mirroring it back to me, but then also inside of my misfit mastermind, because it's just been called Lindsay's super secret mastermind for the past year. I didn't have a name for it. Now I've named it Misfit Mastermind, and that came from the members. The members were like, we're misfits. Like this is us, right? So you can lean on or borrow other people's messaging, not their messaging, but like the words and phrases and imagery. But the more you talk about what you do, the more you do what you do, yours will come. It will come. I talk about this a lot when it comes to niching, for example. A lot of times people, when they're first getting started, can feel this pressure to niche. And niching is important. It will help you grow faster. It will. But you can't force a niche. Right. I mean, sometimes it's really obvious, right? Like I think of Rianne, she does podcast management for neurodiverse podcasters. Like her niche is very clear, right? But other times you're like a VA. Okay, that's so broad, right? And so I tell folks to just get into action and start working and really continue to kind of call this, who do I want to work with? What are the things I want to work on? Who are the people I want to work with? What are the things I want to work on? And just, I'm a big believer in the beginning of saying yes to everything, because that's the fastest way to figure out where the no's are and where the heck yeses are, right? And then your niche will present itself to you. It will take shape in the doing, right? So I think that's great. Lean on the things that are already happening, but continue to put yourself out there, continue to have these conversations, do the work. Your niche will present itself, and those words will present themselves, right? I love that. Hope that helped. Okay, so my current goal is still based on my initial vision, but realized when I was giving for free, people didn't value. Now I charge and gain respect. Yeah. People generally don't value what they are given for free, and it's not that they don't like necessarily value it. It's that there's no investment, there's no mental, physical sort of like stakes in the thing that they got, and so it's always that sort of that I'll get to it, and then of course we never get to it because oh my gosh, we are bombarded with the business of life, right? And so people pay for things. They're saying it's more of an active choice. It's not I'll check it out. It's this is something I'm purchasing. I want in my life, right? So yeah, you will get people who do more follow through when there's a purchase attached for sure. After taking Q4 off of short form video, I'm ready to jump back in, and I'm having so much fun. Heck yes, Sue, I love your energy. Thank you so much. I promise we're gonna get to it. I promise. I just want to keep chatting with you guys. Okay, that's good. Thank you for saying that. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. What else we got here? Okay, all right. Let's get into today's topics. I got a few notes for us here. It's so funny because as I was really diving into this, I was thinking I think this might be one of my first video essays. I really am passionate about this topic. If you see me looking off screen, I'm looking at my notes, so don't mind me. But I am really passionate. Also, I'm autistic, and I do that when I talk anyway. But I'm passionate about today's topics, and I want to talk about the first one, making time for business versus making time for life, and where that came from. I was having a conversation. By the way, keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming. I'm happy to I want this to be a conversation here. I was talking with a friend who was going through a bit of a moment, and we were having this great conversation. I was being there. I was supporting her. We were having a conversation. We're friends. And at the end, she said, "Thank you for making time for me." And I was like, but I didn't make time for you. You are the things I spend time on. You are the priority. You are where I put my time. And it got me thinking, I make time for my business. I make time for client sessions. I make time to come on Shop Talks, right? But I don't make time for my life and my friendships. And that doesn't mean I'm saying there's any kind of hierarchy or one is more valuable than the other. It just really got me thinking about this way that we view our lives and how it's like we have to make time for our lives and what's important to us, but we have to prioritize work. So I want to stop there for a second. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, or how does that land? The other thing I want to add to that is this concept of making time, because we don't really make time, right? Time is kind of set for us. We can't, we're not like, who's one of the Avengers? Like Doctor Strange? Like Doctor Who, if you're my Doctor Whovian buddies. We're not time travelers. We don't make time. Time is what it is, right? And so we have to prioritize time. And this is why I'm on you all the time. Work less, right? Focus on your revenue generating activities. Stop burning out on busy work, because when you don't need to work as much as you think you do if you just know what works and what doesn't. Do what works, scrap what doesn't, go live a life, right? So I think we need to start with, you can't make time. You and I don't make time. So if we take the time that we have, how are we prioritizing it? And are we prioritizing work over who we are as people and the people who are most important to us? And now that's not the same thing as like making sacrifices on things because we are in a growth phase in our businesses and we have this goal we're aiming for, right? Like we have to put in the hours, we have to work hard, we have to do those things in the early years to get where we want to go, right? We have to make sacrifices. We might have to say no to going to certain things because we need the budget, the money for the business. We need the time for the business because we're tired and we want to just rest, right? So we definitely make sacrifices. That's going to happen, right? But it's like I say, like I have friends who they know this. It's a ride or die friendship. Whatever you need, I will drop everything in a heartbeat and hop on a plane to come out there if you need me. And I think that's the energy I want us to start really thinking about, right? Where are we making time? Where are we prioritizing time? And where are we being very clear on when we're making a conscious choice to make a sacrifice for the business versus prioritizing the business above everything else? So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to come read some of your comments. Keep them coming in. Let me find the right one, or the newest one. Here we go, Marit. I still have challenges between making time for my business versus making time for adjusting in a new country. Yeah, like you've got a big one because you're in a new country, a new culture, right? You're learning a new neighborhood, a new area. You're getting into new organizations, making new friends, learning like the new, like even just the way people talk differently, or the way that, we have different words for things, or the language, right? And so, yeah, the challenge of making time for business, for making time for adjusting to a new country. And I think if I were to make a suggestion there, it would be, because, okay, let me put it this way. You tell me if you're the same. Okay, I'm going to share a story. When I went to Australia, I was there for a couple of months in 2022. It was the borders had just, or the whatever, everything had just opened back up to traveling in the pandemic. And I was like, get me out of my apartment. I need to go. And so I went to Australia, and I'd never been there before. It was also the longest solo trip I've ever taken. And so I was like, all right. And I get very overwhelmed. And so I was like, okay, Lindsay, day one, your only thing is to like unpack, go and like, I don't even think I left, because I was staying it was like an Airbnb, but it wasn't. It was like student housing, but the students were gone. They were gone for the season. So I was in like a room inside of a building that had a workspace and, a foosball and all that stuff. I'm like, your only thing today is to take your laptop and go downstairs and to work and to look up where to buy a bus pass and how bus passes work, right? My brain, I can get really overwhelmed. So I have to understand, how do they work? How much do they cost? How do I use them? What are the, so I'm like, just do some research on that, go downstairs and do some work, and that's it. And then day two was just like, okay, your only task today is to, because I found out there was a 7-Eleven a few blocks away, to get a bus pass. So go to 7-Eleven, get a bus pass, grab some sushi, come home and chill, right? And then the day three was like, okay, you're going to go on the streetcar, and you're just going to take it and just start to feel comfortable being on the streetcar, getting off, walking around, coming home. So for me, that's how I tackle these big things, like being in a new country, and just like these big things that can feel overwhelming. I just pare it down to its smallest steps and give myself permission to just go really slowly. And then after a few days, I'm totally confident. I'm walking around everywhere. I can know like where the free zone is, where isn't. I remember one night I was coming home from, I was checking out some penguins. They were adorable, but my phone died, and I didn't bring a charger. And I was like, okay, well, I got to walk home and I don't have a phone, so I can't use the maps. I'm like, we're going to make, and there's, if you turn here, it's a little rough. If you turn here, it's not too rough. I was like, you know what? I can do this. Like, I know that there's some, like, I was next to like one of the women's hospitals, so I knew what it looked like and I could see it in the distance. So I made my way there. This thing that happens when we just take the pressure off to come in full force and just step by step do the thing. And then you build this confidence in yourself, and then boom, away you go, right? Well, that was a long story, but I say that to say, if you're in a situation that is overwhelming and new, where are you breaking it down into smaller steps, right? And then just taking it bit by bit and building up that confidence, right? And then if we add that into making time for your business, can you do the same in your business? Can you stop trying to do business and adjusting to a new country and new city 100%? And can you do 10 and 10? And every day, just add a little more, right? I hope you found that helpful. It was a long story. I 100% prioritize work over other elements of my life. It brings me so much joy, but it also eats up a lot of energy and leaves little time for other things. 100%. Megan, I am the same. I love to work. I love what I do. I love creating content. I love going to networking events. I love seeing clients. Like, I love speaking. I love doing it all. But that's not enough. And if I'm left to my own devices, I will work all the time, but I have other hobbies. And so I kind of have to, like, not now, but I had to really the past few years force myself to do other things, right? Joining powerlifting was a big help because it's getting me out of the house at least 3 days a week to go see other people that's not business related, right? taking ukulele lessons, taking American Sign Language lessons, right? Going to movies, going to shows. I had to force myself. So, if you have to, then do it. Force yourself to have a life, be multifaceted, have time with friends. One of the things for me, I'm kind of making the mental shift around is the content creating. I'm not considering part of that as a part of my business right now. Like for me, my business is like having networking calls, doing speaking, seeing clients, running our mastermind, running our membership. That's not my business. Right now for me, content marketing is fun. Creating content is fun. So that's something I'll do like evenings and weekends kind of thing, because it's a fun thing for me, but still not neglecting my like social life and personal life, right? Yeah, you do the same thing too, Victoria. Hey, yeah, and I mean the same thing, because you're also like, I don't know if you're saying that to Marie or to Megan, Neurodiversity Club, the Me Too, because I know you're also in a new province, so you're starting from scratch as well, right? It doesn't feel like a conscious choice. I feel like I'm just compelled to work as much as possible. No good. Tell me in the comments, friends. Do you ever feel like if you don't think about your business, focus on your business, work on your business 24/7, it's going to somehow slip through your fingers? You're going to miss every opportunity. You're not going to make money. It's going to fail. And that's a really common experience for a lot of new entrepreneurs. So like hyper focus, and there's this like subconscious fear that it will just slip away. It'll melt away, because I think it feels so intangible in the beginning that it'll just poof, gone, right? Do you ever feel like that? Part of my balance is, I don't know what I don't know what that I don't know what that means. I don't know what the fin it means. Sorry, come back to what that means. But part of your balance is does that mean finding? I think I'm supposed to say finding. Part of my balance is finding more time for the relationships that matter. Also moving my body more, and just more time to be creative and having fun. I love that. So again, back to my 100% versus 10%. You don't think 100% of everything. Can I do like 5 to 10% of this and 5 to 10% of that and 5 to 10% of that? Or can I focus on Q1 on just bringing movement in and getting consistent in a way that feels easy for me and fun, right? And then can I add on something else, right? Remember that, okay, as much as time is kind of set for us, whether it's a days of the week or months of the year, right, years of the decade, whatever, it's still arbitrary, right? Was it Victoria? Was that you and I talking about that? Like why I don't view my life in January to January. Like from a business perspective, yes, Q1, Q2, Q3, 2025 projects versus 2026 projects, like yes. But I don't view my life in Januaries to Januaries, right? Because there's like birth and death. That is the flow, and everything is cumulative, and everything is flowing in this direction. And the more that we box ourselves in to arbitrary dates, the more pressure we feel to do everything all at once, right? And also we end up giving up on things because we didn't hit the thing by, wasn't consistent for 3 months, therefore I'm going to never do movement again. Like, no, like it's cumulative. It's over a lifetime. So I really want you to like take this arbitrary sort of calendar that is probably in your heads and all of our heads, and be like, it's birth to death. It's birth to death. That's my timeline, right? Yes, limiting the amount of tasks is really crucial. 100%. Yeah, gosh, don't do so much. Just do the things that work. Yep, force myself to read more and not just psych books that I can use for work. Also, smutty romances. You and Nadine Stilla would get along really well. I got really into smutty romance novels because of Nadine last year. It was a great little fun thing for my brain. Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Enjoy. Share any recommendations in the chat. These reminders have been good ones. I haven't left the house much lately. Need to shovel today. I'm going to use that as an opportunity to get more comfortable in my new neighborhood. Exactly, right? We get in our little bubbles, and it can feel so overwhelming. Just like, I'm going to walk to the end of the block. I remember, friends, when I first moved to here, it was, almost 3 years ago now? And because again, it's like, tell me if you can relate to this. It's like the world seems so big and scary and confusing and intense when I'm in a new neighborhood or new city. And so I moved in and I was tired and I'm like, I need to order food. Let me just go to Uber Eats. And I'm just, here's a place. This looks good. Let me order this food. And I realized as he's delivering it that it's literally, friends, I can see it. It's right there. It's a literal 2-minute walk from me. But conceptually looking at the map, it felt like a 5 kilometers away, right? And so now it's laughable. It's a 2-minute walk. It's on the other side of that building right there. But, you know, I couldn't conceptualize that then. So it's like, just go for a walk to the end of the block. Just go for a drive, you know, set a timer for 15 minutes and you're going to just drive around it and just see what's around, right? The more you get comfortable, the smaller everything will become for you, right? Literally, I'm so embarrassed. When the Uber driver or the whatever delivery guy, he wasn't in a car, he was like on his bike. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I just moved here. I didn't realize it was just right there. Oh, okay. Marie, at one point back home, one of my goals was to watch 1 hour of Netflix every day with my dog. It worked. Dog gives good rewards. It was to watch an hour of Netflix with your dog. Tell me what that. I know what you mean, but tell me why that's significant. Why watching it with the dog? Why watching it with the dog? What was rewarding about that for you? Tell me more. Hang on. I keep doing the same post. There we go. Somewhat. I'm not really anxiety based. It's more just deeply monotropic. Yeah, sometimes it feels like I have blinders on. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. Like, if that's the season you're in, that's the season you're in. Go for it. Work. Do the things, right? You're doing a book. You just did a summit. You've got your business in general, right? If that's the season you're in, go for it, right? And then just make sure that you're not neglecting all friendships or all hobbies. You know what I mean? Because you will start to get small. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need like input from other people and other things, right? But you know, I'm preaching to the choir. You know that. Go Victoria. Sorry, my I gotta have to take a big drink here in a second. I'm talking a lot. Yes, Linz, our lives are bigger than a calendar year. Hell yeah. Well, time blocking helped me with this. I need it to be simple. I'm gonna say, but is that slow? Yes, time blocking can help a lot. You know what? I'm gonna get you a blog, okay? I have a blog on time blocking. Give me a second. I don't have a lot of blogs, but the ones I do are really helpful. Super simple time blocking. Okay, so here's the blog. So when it comes to time blocking, what I recommend that people do is put all their life stuff in first and then their business stuff, right? And with time blocking, it can be so easy to prioritize busy work and not business development, right? And so I want you to consider, what am I focused on this month, this week, this quarter, whatever, and go, okay, so then what do I need to prioritize for work? Because we can get so burdened by all of the to-dos and all of the busy work that's never going to move the business forward. It's not going to develop business. It's not going to bring in clients or opportunities or new connections. So then why are we doing it, right? I would rather that you do way less of that, right? And go have a life and prioritize business development. So when you're time blocking, I want you to consider business development. That's going to fall into 3 categories, right? Sales, connections, opportunities, right? So how am I developing business? Not just giving myself make work projects, not writing another blog, not doing more social media posts, unless those directly bring in business, then that's different, okay? But even still, entrepreneurs are not prioritizing new connections and new opportunities enough, like opening doors to things. Like, I want part of your business development, it needs to be sales, and it needs to be new connections and new opportunities. Hang on. I need to turn off my heater. Give me a second. Water. Oh, lubricate my vocal cords. Let me turn off my heater. Watch, in a couple of minutes, I'll be freezing. All right. How do I go up to them? There we go. Nope. There we go. Okay. Next one. Slots. Okay, I'm gonna opt out of that because my brain's a little bit confused. Okay, also might be permission to stop when my block is done and move on. Yes, that is the whole point of time blocking. Is you put a block of time in, you do the thing, and then when time is done, it's done. If you stick to the blocks of time, it's going to make you work more effectively and efficiently, and also help you realize where you're not being realistic with your time management, right? Time blocking, again, it is a process. It is a journey. You don't just set a time block and go, this is what's up. You do it and then you go, okay, I didn't get as much done, or that took longer, or I need to stretch out my deadlines. Like, time blocking, again, is a progressive journey that takes time to figure out what works. Okay. So it's great for helping you see when things aren't working, right? The dog provides community or great commentary. Rewarding because, I don't know, hanging out with the dog rather than working more. It was needed then. Yes, 100%. Oh, I was talking with a friend and they were like, I don't know how people don't have animals in their lives, have pets. Like, my dog is everything. I love quality time with my doggo too. Yeah, sometimes I get so busy, wrapped up in my head, that I somewhat ignore him or just walk by him instead of enjoying the moment with him and being present. Yeah, when I used to have a dog, it was the same. It was the same. I was a little obsessed with her though. She's a little Chihuahua Daisy. She was the sweetest thing. But yeah, when I would get busy, it's like, oh, I gotta take her for a walk. Oh, I gotta play with her. Oh, I gotta cut her nails. Just kidding. I never cut her nails. I took her to the vet. I couldn't do it. It was too freaked me out too much. And not the vet, the groomer. Are there any shortcuts to finding podcasts at Summit Spoon? Yeah, join Facebook groups. I'll share a couple of Facebook groups right now with you that you can go check out. And then what will happen is you will get more suggestions from Facebook, and you will get more suggestions from the people within these communities. But here's two that I like. I often find really cool things to be a part of. And then the other thing is networking, meeting people, getting into, joining organizations and going to their networking events, connecting with people on social media that are aligned, and booking a networking call and getting to know each other. Networking can be a really vague thing to entrepreneurs who are new to networking. Networking is just simply turning strangers into friends and nurturing those friendships over time. So in your early years in your business, you want to be connecting with lots of new people and starting to find the people that you really vibe with, and then having those friendships, those connections, right? That's what opens doors. That's how you hear about things, learn about things, get support, get introductions, right? Get resources. So you want to be joining organizations, you want to be joining groups, and you want to be connecting directly with people. Like, I find people all the time on Instagram. I'm like, whoa, you're cool. You want to hang out? Right? The person who helped me with my messaging back in 2023, that's how I met. She was posting stuff on Instagram. I was like, I like what she's posting. I'm going to reach out and see if she wants to connect. Right? And we became friends. Right? Okay, perfect. I'll let you guys have that conversation there. Is this in response to Megan? I'll let you two have your conversation there. Amazing. So let's get into point number 2 today. The inconvenience of friendship. Spoiler alert, it's a good thing. So I was watching a really great, oh wait, hang on. No. I'm so sorry. Wait, hang on, because I've got some links. Okay, we're gonna wrap this into this point. Okay. I'm there. So yeah, oh, sorry. You're saying your voice memo and asking to collab all the time. Yeah, 100%. I do voice memos all the time. Well, I do usually a initial outreach. Hey, and then I'll send a voice memo. I just think it's weird to send a voice memo in the first introduction, because people are weird and you never know what. Like, they might be like, what is this person gonna say to me? I don't want to listen to this. I don't know what they're gonna say. There's some creeps out there. Went to a Chamber of Commerce event. It's best $75. Yeah, but there's lots of things that are free or low cost, right? Like, $75 is a lot to go to an event. I mean, if it's the right people, then it's a business expense. It's good, right? But there's lots of organizations, right? Like there's generally like entrepreneurship organizations in your local communities, in your local provinces or states or country, right? So also look for these organizations and see what events they're doing, right? And then there's individuals who create community and they're hosting events, right? I used to do a lot of events when I lived in Toronto, but since the panorama hit, I stopped doing them, and then now they're like this. Now they're online like this, and this is a great place. Like as this community grows and as you get to know people, connect with each other. I know you can't share direct links, but you can share your social media handles, right? And people can come follow you. So please feel free to share your social media handles. Okay, so The inconvenience of friendship and why that's a good thing. This sort of ties directly into point one. And I've got some really great YouTubes I actually want to share. I'll share those first, and then it's off my brain, and then we can get into the topic. So this is a creator I really like, Mina Lee, and there's two videos that I'm sharing. The first one is True Friendship Dead? That's the first one. And the second one, it has to do with like the loss of third spaces and like the way we connect and socialize and how we are becoming an antisocial society. And I saw this really interesting TikTok last year, and she just talked about like how people will complain that they don't have friends and they're in isolation and no one's friendly and no one smiles, but then you don't smile. You don't offer to help the person who's clearly lost on the street. You don't offer, help your friend as they're moving or need to, go pick up a plant at the plant store, and how there's this antisocial behavior that we are starting to develop as a society. And there was this person who shared a thing, and it said, if you ask a friend to drive you to the airport, take an Uber, save a friendship. And I just thought that was the most brutal thing I'd ever read. Because when my friends ask me to take them to the airport, I am so excited because we get so much one-on-one time on that drive to the airport. And I think the way that we have commodified things that would normally be distributed or shared with friends, right? Whether we're getting, what's that called, TaskRabbit, to someone to help us move a cabinet instead of calling a friend, or we're calling Uber to take us to the airport or to the hospital to get a procedure, instead of a friend, or just all the ways that we outsource and attach a dollar value to the things that we would normally lean on friends and family for. And then I also think about things like, the amount of times, like I've even had a conversation with somebody, or I've been guilty of this, where I'm going through a rough patch and I just need to talk, and they won't even listen. They're just saying, go talk to a therapist. Or I've said, do you think you talk to a therapist? And thinking, okay, but you can still listen, right? You can still listen, right? It's not our job to fix people or to therapize people or to find solutions for people, but we can still listen to our friends, right? And again, there's this like extreme chasm that we're starting to build in our friendships. It is creating this loneliness, this isolation, this feeling like a burden and not asking for help. And it doesn't help that we do live in this sort of late stage capitalist society that prioritizes work, right? And we talked about this at the beginning. You have to make money. You have to be productive. All of your time has to be spent working and making money. If you're doing something, don't do it for free. Make money. I was watching another YouTube and it was this guy was reviewing Masterclass. I don't know if you've seen those ads on like Instagram and Facebook or whatever. And he was talking about this one with Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban was talking about how he got his start in business by buying garbage bags and then going door to door in his neighborhood and selling them as a markup at a markup price. And if you know me, I get fiery. And I'm watching this and I'm getting so fiery because I'm like, okay, so that's not entrepreneurship. You didn't create anything. You didn't innovate anything. That's just pure, unadulterated capitalism. You used your capital to purchase something and then exploited your neighbor's need for that thing by charging them more for it and making a profit. That is just capitalism. That is not innovation. That is not entrepreneurship, right? And so it just always makes me bonkers when people, just as an aside, say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. No, you're a capitalist. They're not the same thing. Side note, this is what I want the video essay to be about as well. One of my video essays this year. So this idea of we're commodifying everything and charging for everything. And it's like we've somehow lost what it means to be a part of a society and a part of a community and to be friends and to be there for each other and to help each other. And so this idea of friendship being an inconvenience, well, based on what? And this comes back to my original point, right? Of like prioritizing life versus prioritizing work. When we prioritize work, everything like walking the dog, right? Playing with the dog, watching a show, learning a new hobby, being there for a friend becomes an inconvenience, right? And so I guess this is just a real invitation here to think about the way we view life, society, community, friendship, right? And how we need to deconstruct that capitalist filter. And we need to think, what does inconvenience mean, right? So I want to come read your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. I'm going to read my notes, see if there's anything else. Oh, I'll share this after because I've got another book reference that I want to share. So let me come read some of these comments here. Tell me if you think I'm way off. Am I hitting the point? Is this connecting for you? Megan, LOL, yeah, I get a random email the other day saying all kinds of heinous things to me, like how it was a shame my doctor hadn't helped me with physician on. Oh, the voice. Okay, I was like, how does this relate? Yes, the weird voice notes. Yeah, people are weird. People are weird and they send weird things. I learned that from when I was on TikTok last year or the year before doing the fantastical fatty stuff. You think you're just creating something, whatever, and then people come at you. Same with, I posted. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, friends. Y'all know I'm a hard ass. You know it. You know I'm a hard ass. So one of the things this year that the energy that I'm bringing in, this is a total aside, friends, is not everything is about you. Not everything is about you. If it's not for you, keep it moving. And I had posted an excerpt from a really long conversation we had all had last year, talking about how I used to do 30 calls in a week. And when you do the math, that's only 3 hours a day. And like, that was okay, like whatever. And so I posted this little clip and it was a part of a bigger conversation, right? We talked about capacity and disability and all these things, right? But I posted this little clip and this person was like, sort of like, I know you're not being ableist, but this is kind of an ableist take. And I have autism and I can't do this and da-da-da-da-da. And I felt a lot of shame and embarrassment. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Am I being ableist? And then it took me months to process this. And I also referenced, like, we talked about all the things you're saying in the video. Like, did you even go watch the full video? Are you just making a judgment on this 30-second clip? Like, what's happening? And I'm at a point now where I'm like, all I did was math. I just said, this is the math of 30. It was just math, right? I didn't say you had to do this. I didn't say you were not a good person if you couldn't do this. Like, it was just math. And I just got to thinking, not everything is about you. If this doesn't apply to you, you can keep it moving. You can look at it and go, how could I apply this to me? And so that's an energy I'm really bringing in this year. Coming back to this whole fantastical fatty, this random person saying this thing, this is the point I'm making. When I did fantastical fatty, when I post content now, if you're creating content, you're going to get the same thing where people are going to project their stuff onto you and demand that you cater to them and think the way they think and police the way that you talk or behave or present your whatever, right? They're going to police you and demand that you accommodate them. Again, I will say this is another part of, unfortunately, our society and how we are becoming progressively or increasingly more antisocial and less community minded, right? But that is going to be my response this year. So you all can watch for that. It's not always about you. If it doesn't apply to you, keep it moving, right? That's just my thought on that. Okay. Tell me your thoughts if you want. Hey, hi. Happy New Year. How are you, Margaret? How are you? Okay. Victoria, the irony of outsourcing opportunities for connection is that we should, in theory, have more time and energy for connection, yet not practicing connection seems to make it more difficult. Yes. And that brings up, the not practicing connection. I'm kind of bringing that into, so what if we don't have friends, right? And so if you don't have friends, you don't have family, again, that is, and I get that, there are some people that really just want to live in a cave and they want to be left alone and they don't want to have people in their lives. Okay. Again, not if this doesn't apply to you, that's fine. Right. But like, we need each other. we are a social species, right? Our survival, our success as a species has been based on our collaboration, our ability to collaborate and form societies and form community, right? And social supports. That's just evolution. That's just that's how we have come to be the dominant sort of human, right? The Homo sapien. And so, to deny that is just to deny, I don't know, to me, reality. And I get that I speak in like finite, black and white. I get that. So we can bring in the nuance you want to bring in. But I'm just saying, if we don't have friendships, we need to look at why. And that's a great conversation for a topic for a therapist as well. But talk to people in your life, right? If we don't have good, solid friendships, we need to look at why. And I remember in 2008, 2007, I think, I started to really look around at my friendships and realize they were kind of jerks, but also I was probably just as much of a jerk. And I really started to unpack my own internal stuff, so that I could start having better relationships and I could be better in relationships, right? So like look around, and if you don't have the community, you don't have the friendships, even within as entrepreneurship, there's so many people eager to connect and have really strong friendships within entrepreneurship. Start there, build some really great entrepreneurial friendships, and understand too that friendship takes time, right? It's not like in elementary school where you sit beside the same friend every day 5 days a week, and do birthday parties on the weekend. Like, it's not like that, right? So friendships take time, they take years to build, but continue to show up, continue to make an effort, right? Again, where are we prioritizing time, right? Where are we prioritizing our lives, right? And again, to your point, I feel like I'm getting preachy. Let me know if I'm getting preachy. It's what I do. To your point here as well about like connecting, making more time, like we're outsourcing things for more time to connect, and then we're not using that time to connect. This is where I talk a lot about the work less sort of philosophy and entrepreneurship. If you're going to outsource, don't fill that time with more work. Fill that time with connection with friends, with family, with hobbies, right? Yes. Griffo Productions. Hi, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Yes. Oh, thanks for giving them a warm welcome, everybody. All right. Yep. I got a comment today about one of my videos and realized they were kind of right. So I made an apology and moved the F on. Yeah, it was so healing. Exactly. This is the thing. I'm always going to reflect. I'm always going to look in at things and go, okay, where is that true? Where is that not? Now, I don't know. This is just my own trauma, but I tend to default that I'm wrong. And I think that's also a neurodiverse thing. We tend to default that we're in the wrong. And sometimes we have to go, am I though? Am I actually in the wrong here? And here's the thing. I don't need to be right. I don't, that saying, would you rather be right or rather be happy? I'm very much like, okay, all right. I don't need to be right here. I don't care enough to I have my hills that I'll die on, but there's a lot that I won't, right? But there is this, am I in the wrong, or is a person holding me to some sort of standard that is not mine to try to live up to? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. I appreciate finding good communities because it makes finding individual friends much easier. Exactly. Yes. Okay, so I wanted to share this book, Survival of the Friendliest. And I've talked about it a lot, but again, it just talks about, why we're hardwired to connect the way we do and be the way we are. It's a really great book. I really recommend it. But just, we're going to move on to point 3, but my first 2 points are really just the where are we making time for the things that are important, and where are we potentially being antisocial, both in not being there for friends because we view it as an inconvenience, but also not asking for help and feeling like a burden because you know what I mean? Because we think their only job or only priority is to be productive, right? Someone's got to break the cycle, right? So where can we break the cycle on that? What do we got here? I have warring inferiority and superiority complexes. LOL. I think honestly, think that's most people. I really do. I really do. I think that's a part of the human journey, to self-acceptance, to connection, to self-assurednness and self-worth, moving from ego into connection, right? I think that's just a universal thing, just through the way that we develop, our brains develop, our lives unfold. I think that's really universal. Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. Leonie. Hi, Leonie. Hey. Hi. How are you? Are you in the city? Are you in Vancouver? Let me know. You can message me on email me or message me privately too. If you're here, I'd love to see you. Okay, so wanted to comment on the why we go to blame in ourselves. It's the brain's way of soothing itself by giving a concrete answer when we need real info. Friends, I want to get you Leonie's website. You hear me talk all the time about nonviolent communication and why it is like the thing I never stop talking about. Hang on, I'm talking and not typing in your email, your website. Hang on, let me find it. Why can't I find it? Anyway, let me type this. So nonviolent communication is, I describe it as a skills-based way of having difficult conversations, conflict resolution that centers our needs and our feelings for both parties in this conversation. And it is one of the best skills you will ever learn. It is, I believe, completely 100% imperative to how we connect as a society and as an entrepreneur and as a friend, as a family member, whatever. I'm sharing Leonie's website here. I've worked with Leonie as well. At the beginning of the pandemic, I spent some time doing some private one-on-ones, and Leonie, working with you is a big part to connecting to my neurodiversity, because if you remember, I have struggled so hard in these examples we would work through to understand what I was feeling. And because of that work, I spent a year committed to building a relationship with my feelings, with my emotions, because I really genuinely didn't understand them and could not recognize them. And then this led into not like, or understanding my neurodiversity, because I think I know a lot of neurodiverse people, we have a hard time understanding and recognizing the feeling and emotion in ourselves and others. And it takes us days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months to process and understand that. Anyways, Leonie is the best. Welcome, Leonie. We're so glad you're here. Check out her website, Nonviolent Communication. Get into it. Get into it. All right, let me find the latest comment. There has to be a faster way. There we go. I can never find the comment again. Yes. Yeah. Leonie, so wise. So much good information. Yeah. Blaming ourselves sort of gives us control, but it does come with a price. Yeah. And I think, like, again, if you are autistic, ADHD, you know what, honestly, probably anybody that's marginalized, pushed to the margins, there is the default of being the scapegoat or of being always the one that's wrong, right? Which is, again, this brings us back to the misfit conversation, right? When you're used to being the misfit because you don't fit into whatever status quo is currently being activated around you, there is the default that we are the one that's wrong, right? I think it's a really common feeling. So glad it was a contribution. It was powerful work, not just a communication model, especially for people who are differently abled. Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, go connect with Leonie, everyone. Okay. All right. So the last thing I want us to talk about today, and keep the comments coming, is the 3 boundaries that I think we need to set this year. In the year of 2025, what are some of the boundaries we need to set? Okay. The first one, I'm sure, is going to come as no surprise. I think we need to set a boundary around social media scrolling this year. What we consume on social media. This is why I want to do a video essay on this, because there's so many great studies I want to pull in and reference, and I'm not going to bog us down with that right now. The studies are out there. You can definitely go look, but there are numerous studies coming out that's talking about the dangers, the really, really negative impacts of social media on our mental health and also our physical health. Anyone notice their vision is kind of getting messed up from looking at their phones all the time? There's studies on what it's doing to our eyeballs, right? Especially like younger kids who are on screens all the time, to our physical bodies, to our hands, to our physical bodies, but also to our brains, the way our brains develop, the way our brains process information, our attention span, our, whatever. It affects our hormones. It affects our mental health. There are so many negative impacts. And I will say, just from a really base level, one of the things that I've noticed is an absolute unmanageable level of anxiety and feelings of hopelessness that overcome me. And also the getting sort of like trapped into, which is by design, the sort of zombie scrolling where you're just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and it just never ends. And you feel like the whole world doesn't exist to you, right? And I've noticed, because I took the apps off my phone, and it's just like this sense of freedom. And I don't reach for my phone all the time. The other thing I did, by the way, is I put an alarm clock in my bedroom. So like I don't even bring my phone with me. And so it's just like reducing that dependence, not the dependency on the phone, because I depend on it, but reducing the urge to constantly reach for it and just scroll, right? Another thing that kind of just honestly pisses me off is I think about before phones, before social media, I did so much. I had all these hobbies, all these interests, right? All this social time. But now it's like work, Netflix, phone, work, Netflix, phone. And that is contributing again to this isolation, this loneliness, the antisocialness that we are falling more and more deeply into, right? And I don't know, we're getting boring. We're getting so boring. And so I just don't want to give up hours to my phone and to the developers with these apps who make billions of dollars off of us, right? And from a health perspective, I'm not into it. I'm over it. So that's something that I think would be helpful, is to set some boundaries around social media scrolling. If that's something that you connect with, what is a boundary that you might set around this? For me, I take the apps off my phone. I put the Instagram app on my phone when I want to quickly upload some stories or create some stuff, and then I take it right back off, right? And it's annoying because I have to re-log in and redo all the things and all the permissions. So it's annoying to put it on and off, which I'm like, right? I do as much as I can. If I need to use it, I try to do it from my computer. I try to schedule things, right? I mostly just go on to post my powerlifting stories, let's be honest. But if you were to set a limit around sort of that zombie scrolling on social media this year, what would that look like for you? What would that look like for you? Tell me in the comments. Mine is taking the apps off my phone. Victoria, you got to run. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, I'm going to wrap us up here. We're going to go into these and then we're going to be wrapped up. So what would that look like for you? Another boundary I think we need to set this year is around our work hours versus our life hours, right? And we talked about this with time blocking and then honoring the time blocking, right? If you were to set some boundaries around work hours versus life hours, what would that look like? How would you make more time, create more space for life? And what that's going to force you to do is be really strategic and smart with the hours you give to your work, right? If I only have 4 hours a day to work on my business, or 5 hours a week, or 20 hours a week, if I only have that much time, what am I prioritizing so that I can go have a life? And then number 3, another boundary I think we need to set is saying no to what makes us feel stressed or overwhelmed, and yes to us more. What makes us feel good, but also challenging ourselves to grow. It might not make us feel super comfortable right now, but we know it's something, an area we want to grow around, right? So saying no to the things that make you feel stressed or overwhelmed. This is getting back into the unencumbered theme for today, right? And yes to you, including the things that you want to challenge yourself to grow around today. Leonie, I leave my phone in another room at night. I go to bed with my book only. Yeah, I love it. Love it. So, boundaries. Tell me your thoughts. What is the boundary you'd love to set for yourself around social media? And we could say this year, but you can also say this month, right? You could say this week and check in at the end of the week and adjust the boundary, right? around the work hours versus life hours. Where are some boundaries? Where are some guardrails you're going to put in? And then saying no to what makes you feel stressed and overwhelmed, right? And yes to you. And by the way, if there's a situation you're in right now that makes you feel stressed and overwhelmed and you can't just walk away, that's fine. I'm not saying to just walk away. But where can we start moving away from that, right? Tell me your thoughts, and then we're going to wrap ourselves up. Whew, it was a long one today. Actually, not too bad. We should go an hour to an hour and a half. All right. I'm going to continue to leave it open for you to share your thoughts. Oh, okay. We got some thoughts coming. I know it takes a minute here. This month, every single time I get the urge to check my views or followers or some other nonsense, I will text a friend and tell them something I love about them. Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. That's the thing, is the check-in by phone. It's all, like, because it's all by design, right? Like, it's all like there's like psychological stuff there. I grabbed this interesting this article. I want to read just a little bit. Okay, it's about zombie scrolling. All right, so some of the key highlights first. Zombie scrolling refers to mindlessly scrolling on your phone through social media or other content. Endless scrolling can dysregulate the nervous system, and it also appears to cause mental health symptoms like depression and anxiety. All right. Signs of zombie scrolling include an inability to be away from your phone and ignoring personal hygiene due to technology overuse. Gosh darn. And to reduce your time online, look honestly at your tech and use and take action steps such as removing social media apps from your phone. Hey, look at that. I already did it. So what causes what causes zombie scrolling? According to one estimate, in a single day, the average person scrolls through 300 feet of content, the height of the Statue of Liberty. That's how much we scroll on an average day. What keeps us glued to our phones? Both psychological and neurobiological factors are at play. Our brains are primed to respond to social media because it's a type of variable reward system, explains Don Gratt, PhD of Newport's National Advisory of Health Device Management. Like mice in a lab, constantly pulling a lever in hopes of receiving a treat that appears unpredictably, we keep scrolling in search of an online experience that will trigger a pleasurable release of dopamine. Pretty sure it's going to be similar in when we see addiction to gambling. So it's the random nature of these rewards, whether they take the form of likes, positive feedback, or an ad or post that grabs us, that catalyzes the habitual behavior. Moreover, we tend to revert to that behavior when we find ourselves in moments that are uncomfortable, socially awkward, lonely, or boring. You're sitting alone at a party, standing in line, or procrastinating something you're anxious about. That's when you feel the itch to do the zombie check and reach for your phone. One of the things that I'm working on, or not working on, but being aware of, is when, if I'm like, because I walk to and from the gym, it's a 20-minute walk. If I'm sitting at a light waiting to cross, I don't check my phone. I don't pull it out. If I'm in line in the grocery store, I don't pull out my phone. I'm also really cognizant of not going into that reflex of pulling out the phone. I just kind of keep saying, what would I do if there was no social media apps? Because we all, for those of us that are older, we've lived our whole lives without social media apps. So what would I normally do? I'd look around, I'd talk to people in line, right? I wouldn't pull out my phone and like ignore the world around me. You know what I mean? I love it. Let's do this one. All right. My justice sensitivity is on fire. Yeah, I know. I know the Canada 51st state stuff. I know. See, like, I'm like already like, oh God, is there going to be a war between? I'm already going there. My brain's already going there, and the level of anxiety and stress that's causing in me. What? Yeah. I just don't need to know that much. Okay. The other thing that always kind of like was weird to me was like, the rage baiting, and like how I'm getting upset about something that happened to Carol in like small town USA, like in the cake that she bought that she doesn't like I don't know, and like all of a sudden we're all getting mad as a society and as a social media culture, and we're like dumping all of, like, why do I care about this person? Who is this person? I don't care. I don't need to know this. I don't need to know this. So yeah, disconnect from the phones. I love it. All right, last chance if you have anything more to say. Otherwise, a few little housekeeping things. As I said, I have a new podcast up. If you haven't had a chance to listen yet, here it is. I'm super excited to do some more podcasting. I think this year moving forward, I'm going to turn the podcast into small little snippets of like the work less, play more philosophy, some entrepreneurial stuff. Like it's going to be just small snippets of stuff. I'm going to play with that this year. I'm really excited. The other thing I wanted to share, the updated website. Have a peek. Let me know your thoughts. If you're digging the new website, if you're digging the direction of the messaging in terms of misfit entrepreneurs, let me know. Co-working is January 28th. So if you'd like to join us, come save your seat. We'll be meeting on Zoom to do some co-working. And actually the page I linked is to a new events page that I have on my website. If you are not yet part of the Free Sales membership, please come on and join us. It is where I share a new sales challenge every Monday. We meet live for hot seat business coaching, monthly action planning. It's where you get into small actions that lead to big growth. And then finally, I know some of you already purchased this. I have been putting together my free sales system. It officially launches January 18th. So until then, you could pre-buy it for $50 off. So there's a bit of housekeeping for you. We will be back here again for Shop Talks on whatever is the second Friday of February. What is that? That'll be the 14th. You can access that through the events link that I shared with you. Other than that, friends, hang on, I think I might have missed a comment. Hang on one second. No, I didn't. So other than that, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for this conversation. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Yay, I'm glad. Thanks for that. So thank you for joining me. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. Happy New Year. Here is to an incredible 2025 together. I'm really excited for everything you've got planned. I can't wait to watch all the things that you create come to life this year. Remember to prioritize having a life, deprioritize work. Whatever you're going to work on this year, make it count. If it doesn't matter, drop it. Go have a life. Go do something fun. Go make friends. Go take up a hobby. Just live your life the way that you want to live it. I love you all so much.